Hello, welcome back. It's a brand new video. It's only been 6 months-ish since my last video. And I thought what I would do is I would use Claude to create or recreate the game Canabalt, which is about 17 years old. Canabalt's this little guy running from left to right, and he has to jump. And that's it. That's the only controls he's got. So it's the sort of, I think it started the endless runner genre. Or if it didn't start it, it was one of the first. Anyway, that was my plan, and that was what I was going for. But what I actually ended up with was something like what I'm showing on the screen just now. Not exactly what I thought it was going to be like. So how did we get here? Well, that all starts now. So I'm just getting into the project name. So I'm going to call it Canabalt Vibe Code. I don't know. And then I'm going to make it Universal 2D, and then create project. And then that should make everything for us. And yeah, let's just let Unity do its thing. Right, now that that's done that, I can now go back to the command prompt, and then I can type in here. I'm going to do git init. Actually, let me do ls first of all. So ls is going to be the listing of the direct. By the way, I'm not using the command prompt. I'm using this thing called Commander. It's a command prompt replacement. I quite like it because I can type in some Unix commands. So this is basically the root for our Unity project. So I'm going to type in git init because I want to initialize it for the Git repository. Then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to type in, if I can type it, Claude. And Claude will fire up. Now it asks you what flavor of code do you want. So I'm going to just choose dark mode because it's currently the one that's set there. And then cloud account with subscription, so that's the one I've got. So I'm going to go over to here. It's going to log me in, and I'm going to authorize it. And I can do that, and then I can close this and go back to here. So it logs me in as that. And I hit return. Claude can make mistakes, it can hallucinate, it can do crazy things. So yeah, just be aware of that. We're not using it for anything that could be a problem for that. It just means that our game probably won't work. So it says, do you trust this folder? Yes, I do. So I'm going to proceed there. And then it says, type in a prompt. And this is where we can get creative. So if I go back to our page here, so I've got this prompt here which Claude gave us. So I'll paste that in there. And then instead of the single HTML file, I'm going to change that to in a Unity game project. And then I'm going to delete the canvas element thing because that's just going to throw it because it thinks it's going to be a canvas. So I'm going to delete that there. So the full prompt then is build me a side-scrolling endless runner game in Unity game engine. Oh dear. This is why you should read it over before you hit the prompt. So build me a side-scrolling endless runner game in Unity game engine. The player is a character who runs automatically and can jump. There are roof platforms that scroll from left to right. And yeah, let me put this is an endless runner style game. There you go. So it'll put up things here. So this is currently going to start using credits, or the tokens or whatever they call it. I think it's tokens actually. I'm calling it credits there, but it is just generating a list of tasks that it needs to do to perform these actions. You're going to have to do some of these tasks yourselves because we're basically going to be the meat puppets essentially for the AI. The AI is going to tell us what to do. We're going to have to go in and wire up some game objects. And then it just does its stuff. So it will build the classes for you. So it says here, it's going to create the player controllers. It says, do you want to create player controller.cs, which is all of this. So I'm just going to say, yep. In fact, I'm going to say, yes, allow all edits during this session. And I'm going to hit return and just let it do its thing. Now you can do yes, and then you can, you can go and examine what it's doing, and then make suggestions as to, oh no, I don't like it this way or whatever. We're just gonna just do straight up vibe coding here and just let it do its stuff. So it's continuing on here. So it's creating a platform, and it's creating a meta file. Oh, that's interesting. Okay. So it's going to keep going on there. Meanwhile, we haven't touched. The only thing I've done is I've copied and pasted a prompt that Claude gave me. So I've done literally nothing in this project here. So it's going through here. So it's done examining the project structure. It's created the player character with auto-run jump mechanics, created a platform rooftop prefab system, implemented scrolling, and now it's currently creating a platform spawner for endless generation. Then it adds game over detection, which is it's already done the platform generation. Then it's done the game over, and then it's going to create a simple UI for the game over screen. Whew. And all of this when I'm just sitting like this, I could have in fact, you know what? I'm going to reach over, I'm going to get my favourite beverage, which is a wee drink of water. There you go. We're vibe coding, folks. I don't know what else to say. I think what I will do is I'm going to cut this bit, and then we'll meet up when it's finished doing everything. Alright, so it's finished. So you might not be able to read this on your television, so I'll just go through it. So it's created a complete side-scrolling endless runner game for Unity. Here's what I've built. So it's already anthropomorphizing itself. So it's created game components, the player controller, the platform, background scroller, platform spawner, the game manager, and the UI manager. These are all fairly simple. Like, I don't know how simple they are. We haven't got to the code yet, but they're all fairly kind of generic sounding classes that you would probably have created anyway. How to set up the game. So create the player, make a game object with a rigid body 2D, collider 2D, and attach player controller CS. Create the platforms, and so yeah, we'll go ahead and do that. Auto running, player forwards automatically, jump mechanics, all that kind of stuff. The game's fully functional, ready to play once you set up the game objects in Unity. Okay, so let's go ahead and set the game objects up in Unity. So I will bring up Unity 6, which is compiling now. So there we go. Some of the project source files revert to APIs that have changed. This can be automatically updated. I'm going to say no, because you've got to tell it that you've updated the files, so I'm going to leave it at that just now. It should be fine, because it's just outdated APIs. We can tidy them up later on. So what is it asking us to do? So player control, set up the player, make a game object with a rigid body 2D, collider 2D. Okay, create empty. I'll call that player. And rigid body 2D, collider 2D, doesn't say collider 2D. What kind of collider 2D for the player? So already I'm stuck. I need help. So it's asking for a collider 2D. So it's saying capsule 2D. Okay, so let's create a capsule 2D. Capsule collider 2D. Okay, and it's saying that the direction should be vertical. Vertical it is. Size approximately 0.6. 0.6 and 1.2. 1.2, okay. Not a trigger. Okay, so it's not a trigger. Right. Player layer for the player game object. So I think there's already a player game object, so I can add that to the player game object. Ground layer for platforms. There probably is a ground layer. No, there isn't. I can add one there though. That's easy. Okay. And then set the ground layer mask and player controller to be the ground layer. Okay. So it's giving me, This is giving me information that it didn't give me at the start. So this is not setting things up there. So info. What's it going to do? Oh, and player controller for the ground layer. Okay, so I need to add player controller here. Controller, and then the ground layer mask is going to be. Oh wait, what? Oh, these layers in Unity. Player layer. Right. Okay, so there's a tag there. There's not a layer for us. I need to add player layer. Player layer. And we need to add ground layer. Okay. I'm understanding it now. Didn't really explain it that well at the start, because if you go back up there, it says how to set it up. And then it just gives me sort of basic information there. So it's not... I'm glad I did ask the question. So, okay, so the ground layer mask is going to be ground. Okay. And then what's the ground check? Rigid body 2D settings, freeze rotation on the Z. Constraints, freeze rotation on the Z. Yep. Gravity scale 2 to 3. 2 to 3, so let's make it 2.5. 2.5. Mass 1, drag 0. Mass 1, drag 0. Okay. And then calculator combined with responsible character to make the full goes down as runner. Okay. But the other thing is in player controller there's a ground check. Player controller is a ground check. Do I set that up in the editor, or is that assigned at runtime? I don't know. It's in the inspector. I mean, if I was going to put it in the inspector, I would assume you need to set it up there. But who knows? Recommended. Okay, you can choose either approach. Let it auto-detect. Leave the ground check empty in the inspector. It will create the ground checkpoint automatically. Manual step, more control. Player. Positions. Okay, option 1, auto direction. Simpler positions, ground check. Red wireframes here. Okay, well let's leave it as is, and then we'll oh, it's creating a new game object there. Okay, right, creates a new game object. That's fine. So we want to create platforms. So make a cube prefab with a platform script and set it as a ground layer. Okay, a cube prefab. All right. Create a 2D object. Cube prefab, and let's call that ground, and we'll give it to the ground layer, and we need to assign it the platform script. Platform. Okay, and this is a prefab, so I'm going to create a folder here called prefabs. Now it's not telling me to do this, I'm just doing it because you know, it feels right to do that. And I'll add that there. Create default prefabs if none assigned. Add backgrounds, optional sprite with backgrounds color for visual effects. Empty game objects with game manager and UI manager. Okay, so I'll create game managers and game manager and UI manager. Okay, so now I've got to create score text. See, it's not telling me these things here. It just says how to set up the game, and then it doesn't do everything. Okay, so it wants me to create score text, game over text, instruction text. So game over UI is a panel. Okay, so now I've got to create a panel, right? Okay. So UI. So this is. I mean, you know, you probably know what we're supposed to be doing here as well, but we're guessing this. It's not the vibe code that I was expecting. It's not telling us half the stuff there. So I'll just call this UI. And then I'm gonna add a panel. UI panel. I'll call that game over panel. And then I'm going to add more text to that. And that'll be game over. Import essentials. I wish it didn't do that. I wish it actually just went ahead and imported Text Mesh Pro, but I guess we can't have everything. And I'll say game over like that. And I will make that bigger. Like that. And like that. And drag it to the middle. Like so. And then I'll make it bold. And make it 72. Because that makes it better. And then I'll just align it. Center and center. Okay. And then, yeah, I'll put it in the middle there as well. That's fine. So that's our game over panel. And that's our game over text. Game over text. And then we've got to create, what else we got to do? The UI game manager. Okay, so the game over panel is that one. Game over text is that one, which won't let me do it. Because my guess is, let's open this up in Visual Studio. So there's a lot more. I thought there'd be less typey than we're getting here, but apparently that's not the case. Visual Studio's been updated. Well done. Good for you. I'm gonna tell it to update the code. So use text mesh pro objects instead of the standard Unity text classes. It's, you know what, it's doing fine. I don't think it's doing great. I don't think it's doing a great job of telling me what it needs me to do to wire things up. I think that's what it's not doing a great job of. I don't think, let me put it this way, I don't think if you're wanting to create this is my hot take just now, is if you're wanting to create a game from scratch and you don't know how to program, I think you're going to be very lost very quickly, especially if you don't know much about Unity or whatever you're working on. Maybe it'll be better if you're working with Godot or whatever, or some other framework. But yeah, I don't know. It just feels a wee bit weird. Anyway, so hopefully that's changed things. It'll compile scripts, and then that should say I'm going to say no for that one. Come on. There we go. So now it says Text Mesh Pro. So I can then drag that over there to game over text. And then we've got our instruction text. So I'll add a UI for that one. Text Mesh Pro, and then we'll call this instructions text. And then what's the other one? The other one is score text. Okay. Score text. Right. And instructions text. I'll call this jump and run. And then the score text, that can go up here. Up there. Yep. And it's score text. Okay, so UI manager has score text and it has instruction text. I'll hide the instruction text. Oh, sorry. I'll hide the instruction text, and I will also hide the game over panel. It's not telling me to do that, I'm just doing that. And the score text, I don't know what score text is. I'm going to guess 0 just now. We'll see. And then in the game manager, I need to know the game over UI, which I'm presuming is this. I mean, I would rather it told the game manager told the UI manager what to do rather than just doing it directly, but whatever. We are where we are. And then how do we? What's next for this? So let's scroll back up here. So set up for the player. Just want to set these in there. Okay. Game features. So create the player, create the spawner, empty game object with platform spawner. It will create the default platforms if none assigned. Okay. So I need to create a game object with platform spawner. Okay. So I'll create a empty one. I'll call it platform spawner. And call it platform spawner. And the platform prefab. See, I never even told me to create a platform prefab. Okay. Spawn point, I guess, is going to be here. So wherever spawner is, which is it? Let me put that to 0, 0, 0. Where's the player? The player is also 0, 0, 0. Okay. So the platform spawner can go just a little bit further down from there. I guess to about here. Yeah. Okay. And we get rid of ground as well, because we don't want that in the scene. But I'm going to make that a prefab as well. So then it says create a spawner and then add a background, optional with sprite for that. Add managers, blah, 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 blah. Okay. So if I go to game, can I see anything? I don't think I can. Let's see. What happens when you run this? What is that? Okay. I'm gonna say I can't see the player and the platforms, just cubes. Okay. Well, let's see. See what's happening. I'm completely lost. I don't know about you, but I'm completely lost here. I thought it would just create like a Canabalt type game. Let me see what it. Let's do. Go back to here. I'm gonna feed it the Wikipedia page and see what it says, or maybe there's a better description of it. Canabalt. Canabalt. Let's just feed it the Wikipedia page and see what it says. Right, what's it saying? What is it saying? Game object, add a sprite. Create a simple sprite. Sprite square. Add sprite to sprite renderer. Set a color. Okay, so go back to here. So you know what? Yes, for these files. Whatever. Let's just break everything. Right, okay. Where are we going here? Why is it? Where are we going? Right, so this is our player, and then we're going to add our sprite renderer. Okay, and then let's create a folder for our art, such that it is, and create 2D sprite square. Okay, player, and can we change the color of it here? I don't think we can. Open sprite editor. No, we don't do that. Okay, that's fine. So we'll go back to our prefab player and then our sprite, which didn't add for some reason. And we're going to drag that into there. There's our sprite, and let's try and make it just a little bit. I guess that's all we got. Okay. And then it says, what else we need to do? Platforms and everything. Platforms will be brown coloured cubes like rooftops. Will they be? Refabs. Proper 2D colliders for standing on. They will have separate trigger zones. Will they? Ground. Box glider. Okay. It's got a box glider on it. Camera setup. Make sure your main camera's position to see the action. Set the camera position to something like 0 to -10. 0 to -10. Okay. Set the camera orthographic to size 5 to 8. So let's make that 6. Alright. Ground layer. Create a ground layer in the layer settings. Did that. Set the platforms to ground layer. Did that. Set that to there. Okay. Okay. So now. Well. Is it just me? I mean, okay. What if I just made them longer? Like, would that help? Would that help? Would that make you happier? Right, let's see what happens here. It still falls. This is an awful. I was kind of hoping for something more like Canabalt. Let's see what it says about this. Ah, you want the classic Canabalt style. Okay. Let me update the game to match that aesthetic. Silhouette style character, building rooftops, and that distinctive urban runner feel. Why didn't I just say Canabalt at the start? This could have saved a lot of pain. What are we I don't know how long we're into this video. 8.5 an hour or something, I think it is. Yeah. let's see what it's doing. So it's currently working away and doing stuff in the background. So let me create a script that generates the classic Canabalt silhouette style player. Okay. Right. Update the player silhouette style. Okay. The platform spawner. I mean, it'd be interesting. I mean, it can generate graphics. So I don't know how it's going to do that. I love how it's called Canabalt Visuals. This is not going to pass muster in a copyright suit, is it? Oh well. Luckily, we're not selling this, I suppose. It's just a fun thing to do on a Sunday afternoon. Just some chill coding. Alright, so adding city silhouettes. That's a bit interesting. Well, it's all very exciting, isn't it? Well, okay, here we go. Alright, okay. Perfect. Okay, I've transformed your Endless Runner into a proper Canabalt style game. Why didn't I ask for it at the start? See, this is the thing. You got to get the prompt right. You got to get the prompt right at the start. We still don't know if it's right, but we'll see what happens. Here's what you now have. So, visual style, black silhouetted player, building rooftops, city background, minimalist UI, just a score counter, Canabalt style. Okay, that's kind of what I wanted. So, faster pacing, 8 units a second, stronger jumps, random building sizes and gaps, follows the look ahead for player feel. Dark palette atmosphere. Okay. So create an empty game object in your scene, add Canabalt game, okay, and then hit play and everything else will be set up. Option 2, manual setup. Right click Canabalt game setup component. Okay, let's just create that. So automatic setup, create empty game object in your scene. Okay, let me do that. Don't know why it keeps doing that, jumping back to there, but let's go create this an empty one called Canabalt. And Canabalt game setup. So setup. Okay. And we get the game there, and so on. I mean, it hasn't created anything else. I don't know what it's gonna create here, but okay, I'll run it, see what happens. Well, it's the same thing. It's the exact same thing. Oh my god, the visual style. What? Am I missing something? Like, there's no different. I don't see any buildings, and the player is still a white square. I'm lost. I don't think it's doing a particularly good job of this. I maybe we need to start again, but this is pretty bad. Send messages to Claude while it works to steer Claude in real time. Well, Claude, you're not doing a great job here. I mean, I've got to say, this has been a bit of a disaster. I thought this would be an easy game to create. It's literally just one button. You press the button, you jump, and that's it, and it spawns things. And so I don't tomfoolering. It's not working. Like, there's nothing there. I've written it in the proper. Here's what you now have: visual style, black silhouetted player. No, I don't. Hey, what am I doing now? Okay. I don't see any buildings. Let me help you get this working. The issue is that the automatic setup isn't being triggered. Let me create a simple script to manually set everything up. So it's created a script for me. Okay. In Unity, create an empty game object in your scene. Rename it game setup. For the love of God, I'm creating more objects now. Should I maybe go in for the more manual setup? I don't know. Create empty game setup. Okay. Game setup. Press add a game as a quick setup. What's happening here? Okay, there's an error. What? 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 What's it complaining about? It says a local or parameter name player cannot be declared in this scope because that name is used in an enclosing local scope to define. Why can't you reuse player again? Okay, let's call it P, and we'll call that P. There you go. All right. Okay. So, what's it doing here? So it does that and then it creates the visuals. Okay. I thought that was the whole point of the Canabalt game setup thing. I thought that was what it was doing, but okay. I swear to God. Right, okay. I'm gonna nuke this one, right? Because this is obviously causing problems. So game setup. So what was it saying? So, double what's happening? If you still see a white square, check the console for debug messages. Game over, game over. Well, there's nothing. There's no debug messages. Oh, am I missing something? What is it? What, I genuinely like. It's not even falling through that. I don't understand why. I mean, this is only still going to be spawning the ground. I don't. Okay. Try this first. Create an empty game object. Add the quick setup script. Press play. Check the console for debug events. That doesn't create another empty game object. Add debug visual script. Oh my god. Debug visuals. Okay, and then we do debug visuals. All right. Okay. Let's see what happens. Do you see a black square at 0, 0? Yep. So should I get rid of player? Is that the problem? Should player not be there? Like, I don't know. Create player, edit player. Okay, so it says create a player, blah 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 blah. Create a platform, create a cube. Remove this 3D collider box, add box collider 2D, which I think is already done. So go to prefabs, ground. Let's make that 1 again. So it says create a cube there, platform script, position at 0, -2. I don't know why it's going to be -2, but okay. And then run. Testing sprite creation. And that. Like like what is it supposed to? What are we supposed to be doing? What are we doing here, Claude? What's happening? I don't know what's happening. I mean, it's perfect. The sprite creation is working. Yeah, I can see the black square, but it still looks like squares just being flung across the screen. I feel like I did a game years ago just as a kind of joke more than anything else, which was like you flew and you dodged and all that kind of stuff. And I feel like it took me less time to get that working than it did to vibe code this. We're now 40 minutes in to the process, and we still don't have a game that we can play. So that script that said that it was half an hour is just complete garbage. Alright, okay, so remove the debug visuals object, create the fresh one there. What? What am I doing? Create a new game object, add the update. Alright, okay, fine. Let me just do rid of that then. Rid of that, and then we'll do create empty quick setup. Quick setup. Okay. Run it. Now, do we need player? Sprite renderer. Color. black. Okay, run. I feel like the ground thing is wrong. I'm still seeing grey. I still see the grey, the grey boxes and boxes, well as the black boxes. Gaps at the start are way too quick to avoid when you first start playing. Would be better couple of 15 seconds of no gaps to get used to jumping and timing their jump. Because you don't want to, because the thing, because the problem, I'm just going to keep going because otherwise we're going to be here all day. The problem is you need to give the player time to get used to the controls. I know it's one button, but you still want them to get used to, like, if I press the jump button, how far do I jump? And so they can see where they jump from, and then when they land, so they can time the jumps better. And you can't really do that if there's a gap, like if there's like a gap immediately just in front of you, like I press space, all of a sudden you lose it. So it'd be better if there was no jumps and it was just like continual road that you ran on, so you could time the jumps better. So that's what I'm asking Claude to do. So let's see if it figures that out. So I've asked it. I still see the grey boxes as well as the black boxes. The gaps at the start are way too quick to avoid when you first start playing. It'd be better to give the player about 10 to 15 seconds of no gaps to get used to jumping and timing their jumps. So it's gone ahead, it's created those to do, so it's removing the grey boxes. So we'll see what it says. It's now working on adding an easier starting section with no gaps for about 10 to 15 seconds. So we'll see what happens. I'm not holding out much hope, is what I'm trying to say. So we'll it's a bit of an adventure, but we'll see how we go. I mean, like I said, this is 45 minutes now of coding this, and we still haven't got a game. So it's not as easy as all that to get there. Maybe comment below. Maybe I'm just making a mistake on how we should be coding this, but we'll see how it goes. Okay, so remove updated quick object, clear all existing, blah 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 blah. First 12 platforms, tiny gaps at the same height. After that, normal random gaps, increased difficulty. Delete the current quick setup object, create a new game object, add the updated quick setup script. Why do I need to do that? Why do I need to delete that object and recreate it? It's not like it's stuck, like there's no parameters or anything there. I'm just, you know what, I'm just going to press play. I'm going to press play and it can figure it out itself. Alright, let's see where we go. But that's the same game! Oh my god, maybe, okay, right, well, let's play along. Alright, we'll create a new one, create empty, quick setup. The most ironically named setup ever, quick setup, because I think we've done this about 20 times. And we'll add quick setup, and we'll do that, and it'll be the same thing. Guarantee it. Didn't even get a chance to press the space bar. Look at that, straight in there. No. There is still a huge gap at the start, and the player immediately he falls through it before they can get a jump off. Tomfoolering, yeah, no kidding. So I was thinking about it. It's deleting a few bits of code. See what happens. I honestly could have coded this quicker. Maybe that's an exercise. Maybe I should put my money where my mouth is and try and code this for myself. Tap like if you want to see that video. Alright, okay. So what's changed? Nothing. I'm telling you right now, nothing's changed. New player experience spawns on solid ground. We'll see. So again, delete the old quick setup object, create the new empty game object, add the updated press play. Should be no absolutely no gaps, blah blah blah. Right, okay. Let's placate the AI. Play along. Right, we'll delete that. We'll add a new one. Game in. Quick setup. Here we go. Quick setup. Alright. No gaps. Let's see what happens. Well, I can't jump. And now I'm stuck. I'm getting moved backwards. What's happening here? Okay, it's slightly better. I'm sort of sinking into the... Why is jump not working? There's no gap, but I can't jump. When I press space to jump, it judders, but the player doesn't leave the ground. In fact, the player is sort of embedded into the ground when they start running left to right. Shouldn't the runner be on top of the ground? This reminds me of that. There's a bit in the original Willy Wonka where Tim, oh god, what's his name? I can see him now. Anyway, the actor, he asked this computer where he can find the Wonka bars, and the computer says, "Well, even if I did know, which I do, I'm not telling you because that would be cheating," something like that. And then he tells the computer, "I'm going to share the Wonka bars with you," and the computer says, "What would I do with 500,000 Wonka bars?" And he turns to the computer and goes, "I am now telling the computer what it can do with 1,000 Wonka bars," which is just hilarious because this is what it feels like. Is like it's doing this thing, but it's not actually working at all. So it's updating the visuals to use the debug controller temporarily, and then it's trying a few bits and pieces. It's blanching, apparently. So it's sauteing the potatoes or something. I don't know what it's doing. Delete the old quick object. Create the new empty up. Blah, blah, blah. Why do I have to do that? That makes no sense. I'm not doing it. I refuse to do it. I'm not letting this machine dictate to me that I have to recreate. Like, what's the point? Tell me, if you know the answer, tell me why that needs to get recreated, because I'm telling you right now, I don't think it needs to get recreated. So I've saved the scene, I'm running it, and let's see what's happened. Nupney. am I supposed to see there? Starting game setup. Clean existing objects. When I press space. So much noise in the console, it's hard to read. Simmering. Maybe it should spend less time in cooking stuff and more time getting the code ready. Maybe that's a better idea instead of simmering and blanching and doing whatever else. Like Julietting. I mean, what's it going on there? Is it Julienne? It's Julienne, isn't it? Not Juliet. All of this talk is making me hungry. It's so bad, this. Oh dear. Alright, clean it, press the space to jump. Okay, so you're now quiet unless there's an issue. Well, let's hope so. Did it tell me to... Well, see, that's interesting that. It didn't tell me to do the can't jump, not grounded if you try to jump when in the air. What does the air have to do with it? It's getting embedded in the ground. Where the hell did the player go? Where's the player? I can't see the player. When you watch other YouTube videos and they do this and it's like, make me Space Invaders, and it makes the Space Invaders, just ask yourself, is that accurate? Did it actually make Space Invaders? Oh dear. What's going on here? I did a test beforehand and I asked it to help me vibe code a deck building game because I wanted to see how well it would do. I built one for a game jam years ago. Actually, it's about 10 years ago now. Yeesh. One of the old Londari ones. Anyway, and I thought, okay, let's see if we can vibe code a deck builder. And it did a pretty good job of it. Like I didn't touch anything code wise, and it did a pretty good job of it. And this one has just been struggling. So I don't know what the issue is here. So what's it saying here? Okay, so delete the quick setup object, create 2 new objects. Oh, for the love of Pete. One with quick setup for platforms and one for test player script to use. First tries the Unity built-in sprite, so that first creates a custom black texture as all the physics. No, the player is obviously like there. It was before, but for some reason, in trying to debug the ground jump problem, you have placed the player somewhere that is not on screen. Fix that rather than trying to figure out, I'm losing my patience now, can you tell, out why the sprite renderer isn't working. Guarantee that the sprite renderer is not the issue here. It's a positional issue. Where is the game object in space? Yeah. Befuddling. Oof. I think it's been fuddled. If that's a word. You're absolutely right. There you go. See, I'm a genius. The player is there but positioned off screen. Let me check the camera and the player position, and this will spin its wheels. Should I call it an hour? I feel that we've been. This adventure has been fun and all, but well, here we go. Okay, so delete, keep the quick thing. Don't do that, right? Okay, so let's So for this time we don't need to delete the quick setup. We can just keep it. Let's see if this works. If it doesn't work, then I don't know what we're gonna do. I don't know. Give it up. I think we give it up. It's been an hour. It's a long enough video. Yeah, there it is there. The buildings are all like... Oh, for the love of Pete. Alright, I see... Let me see. I see game over in the console, but the panel no longer shows. The player runs off the screen and disappears. When the player enters, it's too early and they hit the leading edge of the platform. Hey, so many problems. Need to respawn after the edge. Game over panels and showing player runs off the screen, camera follow not working. I mean, I think the camera follow is working. Oh, maybe the camera follow isn't working. I don't know. Because again, I've not looked at the code. But we'll see. I mean, should the camera follow work at all? I mean, it's surely the player should be static on the left hand side. Not static, you know what I mean, but position on the left hand side, and then the blocks come in past the player. That's how I would build it. I mean, it's, you know, you have something that's fixed to the left hand side, and then you just fling things from right to left. Caramelizing. It's back to the cooking metaphors again. It is French, I suppose, so it does like cooking. I used to watch Jacques Pepard. The PBS had on a cooking morning every Saturday. It was great. There was the Norwegian. There was a Norwegian guy. There was Simply Ming, and then there was Jacques something or other, who apparently worked with Julia Childs. All right, okay. So delete the old quick setup object. Create a new empty object. Create the... Oh, for the love of God. No. I don't understand what is that? Why do I have to recreate the quick setup object every time? That makes no sense to me. Please explain. Alright, let's see what it says. Photosynthesize. God, that's biology now. Brilliant. You're absolutely right. That makes no sense. You shouldn't have to recreate the quick setup object every time. The reason I keep saying it is because quick setup script has this problematic code. Problem is quick setup runs game every start. Which means every time you press play, it destroys everything, including previous game objects. What? So you're right, this is a terrible design. Let me fix it. You can play without recreating anything. I don't understand why it's like, it's not asking me to. Now you understand why I kept saying to recreate it. The script was badly designed. Fix. No more recreation needed. Okay, let's destroyed everything. Recreated it. Okay. I still don't understand why it's like it would recreate everything at runtime, not at design time, right? No. Oh, for the love of God! Well, it's running, I suppose. Well, you know what? I call it. It's fine. It works, I suppose. Does death work though? He's stuck. See, that shouldn't happen. That should end up. There you go. He's dead. Okay. Right. You know what? We did it. We finally did it. It's a success. Woo! It's not. It's a fail. It's an absolute fail. But we do have a game that we could probably build on. Who knows? It's stuck there. Yeah. So we can run, and we can jump, and we can hide, and all that kind of stuff. So, is it an endless runner? Sure. I suppose. Yeah, there's no way you're gonna make that jump. But yeah, okay. I'm gonna call it there. Thank you very much for watching. It's fine. You know what? Is it a fail or isn't it a fail? I'll let you decide. Let me know in the comments what you think. I think it's a bit of a fail myself, but there we go. I'll keep plugging away at Claude. Not for this game, obviously. This game's now finished for me. I'm not going to do this anymore. Not going to complete it. But I just thought it'd be an interesting one, just to kind of get back into making videos again. It's 3 months into 2026, and I haven't made anything for quite some time. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I enjoyed making it. It was actually very, very fun. But if you like what I do, hit the like button and share on social media, because it really does help the channel out. And if you want timely reminders when I put something new up, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and notification bell. There's also a hype button as well, and you can also give thanks as well. So if you want to buy me a coffee or whatever, that'd be great. No obligation to whatsoever. All my videos are free. I don't do Patreon. I don't do any of that stuff. It's all free as far as I'm concerned. So yeah, enjoy yourselves. Have a great week, or whenever it is you're watching this. And yeah, see you next time. Bye bye.